The distress beacon pierced through the void like a dying star's last scream. Lisa Chen sat at her monitoring station aboard the UNSC Vigilance, her fingers dancing across holographic displays as the signal's origin materialized on her screen. Sector 7 Alpha, the Kethrin colonies. James, you need to see this, she called out, her voice tight with urgency. Commander James Walker crossed the bridge in 3 long strides, his weathered face illuminated by the amber glow of the distress signal. What he saw made his blood run cold. The message was fragmented, corrupted by distance and desperation, but its meaning was crystal clear. Under attack. Civilians dying. Qingqiu Yuanju. Children. Please. Anyone. The Kethrins were a peaceful species. Tall and willowy with crystalline skin that refracted light in mesmerizing patterns. They'd welcomed humanity into the Galactic Council only 2 years ago, when most species had voted against human inclusion. The Kethrins had stood alone beside humanity's petition, arguing that any species capable of ending their own world wars deserved a chance at the stars. Now they were paying for that kindness. "Get me the council," James ordered. His jaw set, the holographic display shimmered to life, revealing the angular features of Counselor Thexamora, a Vralian whose species had dominated galactic politics for 3 millennia. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of dismissive boredom. "Commander Walker, the Council is aware of the Kethrin situation. The Zarthok Imperium has claimed the sector. It is regrettable." "Regrettable?" Lisa couldn't keep the fury from her voice. "They're slaughtering civilians." "The Zarthoks are a council member species," Thexamora replied, his tone infuriatingly calm. "Ancient protocols prevent direct intervention in territorial disputes. We've filed a formal complaint." James leaned forward, his voice dropping to something dangerous. "You're hiding behind paperwork while children die. This is the way of civilized species, Commander. We do not act in primitive emotional fury. The matter will be resolved through proper diplomatic channels. In several cycles, the connection severed." Lisa looked at James, seeing the same calculation in his eyes that was running through her own mind. The Kethrin colonies were 4 days away at maximum burn. The Council would debate for weeks, maybe months. By then there would be nothing left to save. "Commander," she said quietly, "we're the only human ship in this sector." James was already moving. "Sound general quarters. All hands to battle stations. Navigation, plot a jump to Kethrin space. Maximum military speed." "Sir," the navigation officer hesitated. "That's a direct violation of Council protocols. We haven't been authorized." "I didn't ask for authorization, Lieutenant. I gave you an order." The Vigilance wasn't a warship by Galactic Council standards. Most species had abandoned military aggression centuries ago, their vessels designed for exploration and trade. But humanity remembered war. Humanity had been forged in it. The ship shuddered as its experimental human-designed drives engaged, tearing through space-time at velocities that made other species uncomfortable. Humanity had been told their technology was crude, dangerous, unstable. They'd been told to slow down, to be patient, to conform to galactic norms. They'd smiled and nodded and kept building. 3 days later, they dropped out of FTL at the edge of Kethrin space. What Lisa saw on her sensors made her heart sink. 17 Zarthok warships, each twice the size of the Vigilance, surrounded the planet. The surface glowed with fire. "My God," she whispered. "They're bombarding population centers," the tactical officer reported. "Kethrin defense stations are gone. Their civilian evacuation ships are being hunted down and destroyed." James stood at the center of the bridge, utterly still. When he spoke, his voice carried across every deck through the ship's intercom. "Crew of the Vigilance, what we're about to do will likely end our careers. The Council will condemn us. Our own government might disavow us. But I didn't join the UNSC to watch innocent people die while bureaucrats debate. The Kethrin stood with us when no one else would. Now we stand with them." Battle stations. The crew's response was instantaneous. No hesitation. No doubt, the Zarthok flagship detected them immediately. Its commander's face appeared on screen. Reptilian, cruel, supremely confident. "Human vessel. You are in violation of Council space. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." James smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "You're murdering civilians. Withdraw, or learn why humanity spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war." The Zarthok commander's laugh was a harsh bark. "1 primitive ship against 17? You are either brave or—" The transmission cut off as the Vigilance opened fire. Human weapons weren't elegant. They didn't use exotic particles or dimensional manipulation. They used the same principle humanity had understood since the first human threw a rock. Hit the enemy with something heavy, very fast and very hard. The railgun slugs crossed the distance at a fraction of light speed. The Zarthok shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. 3 warships simply ceased to exist, torn apart by kinetic impacts that released nuclear-level energy. Evasive pattern Delta. James ordered calmly. Lisa, target their weapon systems. Disable, don't destroy. We're here to stop a massacre, not start one. The Vigilance moved like nothing the Zarthoks had ever encountered, her human pilots pulling maneuvers that would have killed most species. Humanity had evolved in Earth's crushing gravity, had survived by being faster and more aggressive than everything that wanted to eat them. Those instincts hadn't disappeared among the stars. Lisa's fingers flew across her console, her targeting solutions precise and merciless. Every shot counted. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and completely committed. Another Zarthok ship lost its weapons array, then another. The human ship danced between their formations, too fast to pin down, too aggressive to ignore. Then the Zarthoks made their fatal mistake. They turned their remaining ships toward the Vigilance, away from the planet. Now. James roared. The Vigilance had bought enough time. Kethran evacuation ships broke orbit in a flood, racing toward the outer system. The civilians would make it. The children would live. A Zarthok lance beam caught the Vigilance amidships, tearing through the hull. Alarms shrieked. Lisa felt the deck tilt beneath her feet. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7, she reported, her voice steady despite the chaos. Engineering says the drive will hold. One more pass, James said. We end this. The Vigilance, bleeding atmosphere and trailing fire, turned toward the Zarthok flagship. The enemy commander's face reappeared, no longer confident. You're insane, he screamed. Your ship is dying. Yeah, James agreed. But your ships are dead. Stand down or we take you with us. For a long moment, silence. Then one by one, the Zarthok warships began to withdraw. Lisa allowed herself to breathe. 48 hours later, the Vigilance limped into friendly space, escorted by a fleet of Kethran vessels. The Council had summoned James to answer for his actions. Humanity's government was in an uproar. Diplomatic incidents were being filed. James didn't care. On his desk sat a message from the Kethran matriarch. It contained only 3 words, translated from her crystalline language. We remember. Lisa entered his ready room, exhaustion evident in every line of her body. The Council's threatening sanctions. Half the diplomatic corps wants your head. James looked at her, then at the message, then back. How many did we save? Estimated 2 million civilians, mostly children and elderly. Then it was worth it, he said simply. The Council can debate civilized behavior. We'll be out here doing what's right. Lisa smiled, tired but genuine. Humanity, fuck yeah? Humanity, James agreed, raising an imaginary glass. Fuck yeah. The galaxy would learn slowly and painfully what humanity had always known. Civilization wasn't about following rules while innocent people died. It was about having the courage to act when action was needed, even if it cost everything. A call for aid had gone out into the darkness, and humanity had responded in fury.